Hey everyone, welcome back to the 515 podcast. I'm Raven. In the last episode, I talked about how I spent 6 years being treated like infrastructure, not a person. Status upgrades, soft place to land, free therapist, steady paycheck, etc. All in the name of sweet, sweet love. Now today, I kind of want to get into a little short segment about leaving that role of infrastructure. When you have been in abuse or chronic emotional neglect, your identity wraps itself around a role: caretaker, emotional sponge, fixer, emotional support partner. You start to believe, I am the woman who understands him. I am the one who stays. I am the one who can handle this. Stepping out of that role starts with a quiet, very unglamorous sentence: I am not your infrastructure anymore. I'm not your power grid. I'm not your image consultant. I am not your nervous system regulator. Spiritual alchemy is not about becoming a different person. It is about letting that role burn off so your actual self can breathe again. So here's some small acts of self-reclamation. Self-reclamation for me did not start with a big speech or a perfect boundary, okay? It started with small, almost invisible choices. Things like writing down what happened instead of gaslighting myself about it later. Not explaining my reactions in obsessive detail to someone who never intended to understand in the first place. Pausing before saying yes and asking, what does this cost my body? Saying no and letting my nervous system shake afterward instead of rescuing myself with a quick apology. These are tiny actions, but each one is an act of spiritual alchemy. You take the old pattern, I abandon myself so you feel safe, and you run it through a new fire. I will feel unsafe for a moment so I do not abandon myself again. See how that works? On paper, these choices look very small. Inside your body, they feel massive. Your heart races. Your brain screams that you are being mean, dramatic, or ungrateful. That is not the truth. That is conditioning. So what spiritual alchemy looks like in real life is kind of like this. Like, people talk about spiritual healing like it is all love and light. In my experience, the alchemy of leaving abusive dynamics is messy and sometimes ugly, and sometimes really, really hard. Like, for example, I'll be honest with you, I've had one of the hardest weeks of my life. I mean, I've had many weeks like this, but, I didn't want to be back where I am today. Even though I'm doing so much better, it's hard. So give yourself a little bit of grace. This isn't easy. It looks like spiritual alchemy looks like grieving the version of you who thought her love could save someone who did not want to change. Feeling anger rise in places you used to feel only empathy, and letting that anger be information instead of proof you are crazy. Realizing you were not overreacting. You were underprotected. You were abandoning yourself. Spiritually, alchemy is about transformation through pressure and heat. In this context, the heat is truth. When you stop minimizing what happened and you say, even quietly, that was abuse, you apply heat to the story. The old narrative starts to fall apart. He's broken and I am chosen to heal him melts into he is an adult who chose his behavior, and I am an adult who gets to choose not to be available for it. If you are listening to this and you are somewhere in the fog, I want to offer a quick reframing you can try later when you have space. Think of a role you have been playing in your relationship that feels heavy. Maybe it is the strong one, the forgiving one, the cool girl, the one who understands his trauma. Now, finish these 3 sentences in your journal or in your head. Just try it. Trust me. When I am in that role, I abandon myself by. When I step out of that role, I honor myself by. One small action I am willing to take this week that aligns with my actual values is. You do not need to overhaul your whole life in 1 week. I'm just saying. I know it's a lot. Sometimes I can't even journal because it's too much. However, just try. Just a couple words sometimes is all that matters. You are practicing spiritual alchemy in tiny, repeatable ways. You are taking your energy back from the role and returning it to the person. Stepping out of the role is not instant. You will wobble. You will have days where you slide back into caretaking or explaining or overfunctioning. It's going to happen. Breaking a cycle, breaking that conditioning is very difficult, but it's possible. That does not erase your progress. It will never erase your progress. Little steps add so much to your new life. Every time you choose a small act of self-honor, you are participating in your own spiritual alchemy. You are reclaiming pieces of yourself that were outsourced to other people's approval, comfort, and stability. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me. If this episode stirred something in you or gave you language for what you're living, I would love to hear about it. What role you feel ready to step out of. What self-reclamation looks like for you right now. You are not infrastructure. You are a whole person. And you are allowed to come home to yourself. I'll see you on the next one.